Absolutely. And
Yeah,
I'll just say this, that I have, a lot of respect for Kyle Shanahan as a coach, and I think that in his down years, obviously a lot has to do with injuries and
right.
inconsistent quarterback play. But
Yeah,
in his up years, he's done really well for the Niners, and I know that Niners fans can be quick to turn on him at times, as we kind of saw at the beginning of last year, but he was able to turn it around and
yeah,
ultimately make the NFC Championship game. But my question mark with the 49ers, obviously there's the Trey Lance mystery, which is still mystery. He's not a
right.
bust. He's not the next generational talent until we actually see him play, right? So we don't know. Anyway, sorry, that's a tangent.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, do you want to move on to the worst and best case scenario for the 49ers, I guess, now?
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, now that we're talking
yeah,
about
we're
it, yeah.
talking about it. Yeah,
Let's
it's so
yeah,
natural.
so I mean, I guess I'll start with this. I think best case scenario, the offensive line works out, which that's a huge if, because I mean, I'm still have a lot of questions about Mike McGlinchey. He's rusty. And, we always say, like, okay, the Rams have question marks at offensive line. They might not have, that's a place that they don't have as much depth, whatever. But the 49ers don't have they have a good left tackle, but other than that, it's pretty lost. Our center position, Jake Brendel, never heard of him until this year. So, like, I don't really know. The offensive line is a huge question mark for this team as well. They obviously got a fourth round offensive lineman, Spencer Burford, who has looked good. But I mean, that offensive line has to improve. Another thing is safety. That's been a huge thing for us, is like we have good safeties, Jimmy Ward, whatever, but the injuries on that secondary, Jimmy Ward might even miss week 1. And then the depth behind him, we have George Odom. He's okay. But like Jimmy Ward is an integral part to the 49ers, what they want to do on defense. So that's a huge thing, is injuries along that secondary. Charvarius Ward, who you know him from the Chiefs.
Mhm.
He was always pretty good. So he's also injured as well. So it's going to be important that we get those guys back. But last year, D'Amico Ryans found a way to figure it out. We had I believe earlier on, we had Kirkpatrick and Josh Norman as our two secondary, as our two cornerbacks, and those two guys are terrible. So I'm not so much worried about that. The offensive side of the ball, what I want to see with the 49ers is, last year we started off really slow. We started off week first, I think it was like 8, 9 weeks. We started off super slow. It was not great. And offensively, I want to see us start off a little bit faster earlier on during the year. Instead, I mean, earlier on, first half of the season, we were really sluggish. So that's what I want to see. I think losing the Super Bowl is probably a fair expectation with a rookie quarterback. I think getting deep in, making a deep playoff run, I think for this team is a success. And then worst case scenario, probably missing the playoffs and having a 7-10, 8-9 season. The offensive line doesn't work out. Jimmy Ward continuously gets hurt, and Trey Lance, I mean, he has a mediocre season, but he gets completely demolished behind that offensive line, and it's terrible, which I find hard to believe, since we do have Trent Williams at the left tackle. So that's my best and worst case scenarios. What are yours for your rivals?
Yeah, I would agree with you, because the 49ers really are a talented roster top to bottom. With I would say they're talented top to bottom with some solid question marks. And I see
Right.
silly fun guy already alluding to those
Yeah.
questions. And if those questions get answered and they get an A+ on them, this is a dangerous team. This
Yeah.
is a team
It
that is
is.
going to win some games. But if they get, that C to B- grade or lower, there's going to be
Yeah.
some, I, I'm always cautious using this word, because I do think it's a word that gets overused a lot. But the 49ers are under some pressure this offseason.
Yes, they are.
They've
Absolutely.
had the weird scenario with Debo Samuel and his contract
Yeah.
negotiation. There's been the Jimmy G situation that has just been awkward.
Yeah.
And then here's the thing with Trey Lance. You traded a lot to get him, and now he's your starting quarterback. Great. Okay. That this guy, and he has,
Yeah.
a great coach, an offensive minded coach. He has a great run game. He has receivers in Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. He has George Kittle. So there's kind of no excuses that if he doesn't perform at a
Yeah.
high level, because you traded up all that draft capital to get him. So I think it's fair to say the 49ers are under pressure because of the team that they've built, because of the trade that they made for Trey. And now it's time to answer some of these questions.
Yeah, yeah. Again, with both the 49ers and Rams, with their schedule, I mean, it's pretty hard. You know, both
There's
teams have a
yeah,
hard schedule. Rams
yeah,
even more. But can Trey Lance be equipped to handle teams
yeah.
that that are experienced? Teams like let's see here. Buccaneers have a good defense. That's a
Mhm.
good team. We have Saints, Chiefs. That's going to be tough. Chargers, Broncos. So yeah, it's really tough. I don't think the defense should be a concern just because we have a really good defensive coordinator, an amazing defensive line. It's just, yeah, can we figure it out on that secondary if injuries do go down? Because safety is a low depth position, which is funny because coming in, we let go of Jaquelski Tart, but coming into the training camp, I didn't really think it was a huge need. But now that we've had a few injuries, now the depth is starting to run a little bit thin, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess it is. So, yeah, that's something interesting to look at for sure. Let's get into a little bit of comments here. It's easier for the Rams to make up for our question marks when the 49ers IMO. What is that?
In my opinion.
Oh, in my opinion, yes. Sorry, my bad.
No,
Um, yeah. Hopefully this turns into the next great rivalry in sports. Can't wait for October 3rd. Stay up, y'all.
and
Yes.
like honestly, the Rams 49ers rivalry, it is a historic rivalry. It's been going on for a long time. Just it's one of those weird rivalries where like there's seasons where like the Rams are really good and the Niners aren't that good, or
Yeah.
the Niners are really good and the Rams aren't that good. There hasn't been a ton of time until like recently where
Yeah.
both
Both
the
are
Rams
good.
and the Niners are kind of the class of the NFC right now.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. And then silly fun guy. It should be a rivalry at least until McVay or Shanahan move on. Yeah, I don't see those guys going anywhere anytime soon. Shanahan has his extension. McVay. Yeah. So yeah, it should be a while then, at least a decade or so. I would hope so.